Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Norman, and here's his story. Hi, Ollie. I've been enjoying your channel ever since I found it a couple years ago after a random narcissist ruined my day. I wanted to understand the concept of narcissism better to unpack what happened to me. I found your channel after I returned from a terrible Boy Scout trip experience with my son. Thanks to you, I learned about narcissistic injury and narcissistic supply. Your videos helped to put everything into perspective, so I thank you. Also, as an aside, I have a lot of empathy for what you and what you have been through. I wish you a continued speedy recovery. Here's what happened to me. I went on a group Boy Scout winter hike with my son in an area of the country that is 4 hours away from home. The leader of the hike arranged for me and my son to ride with him rather than take my own vehicle. That should have been a red flag. Yeah, I don't like riding with other people. I never did. I always had to be in control. What happened that day is very, very minor compared to what others with narcissistic parents or coworkers must endure, as it only affected my day, not my childhood or my daily work environment. My heart goes out to people who suffer on a continuous basis. Once our Boy Scout group was out on the trail, it became obvious that the leader of the hike was not interested in being a leader, seeing to everyone's needs, or behaving like a Boy Scout on a hike. He was interested in only one thing, in impressing the group about how wonderful and amazing a hiker he was. Although it was a mixed group with mixed abilities, he insisted we begin our hike by climbing up the side of a mountain, which was like climbing up rocks, the equivalent of 2 or more steps at a time. This was not terrible, although not what a group hike was supposed to be about. What was terrible was that he didn't care who could keep up and who couldn't, and that he remained 15 to 30 feet ahead of the group at all times. After scaling the rocks up the side of the mountain, he would wait for the group, and as soon as we caught up, he would announce, "I'm 74 years old, and look what I'm capable of doing." Oh, yeah. Just grandstanding. Just fucking constantly grandstanding. Histrionic grandstanding. This is the equivalent of Virginia, walking around at 78 years old, in front of my aunt who had gone through chemo at the time, okay? Because Virginia had lost 10 pounds and she wanted my chemo-ridden aunt to notice. Then he would turn around, leave us all behind, and start the same process all over again. Thus, when he got tired, he would wait for us, turn around, watch us ascend, and when we caught up, announce, I'm an amazing hiker. Look at me waiting for all of you to catch up with me." This is what I imagined the whole hike would be like. There were hiking trails everywhere, crossing over everywhere in all directions, but he had the group going up the side of a mountain, basically rock climbing. Right, he wanted to prove his dominance over everyone. I mean, that's what narcissists do. And it's a rigged game. Listen, it would be like a professional football player walking onto a pee-wee field, okay? And dominating them and say, "Oh, you can't tackle me. Look how much better I am than you all are." Well, they're not professionals. They're scouts. They're Boy Scouts. Of course, he was a very impressive hiker for 74 years old. However, he was also a real loser who was supposed to be leading the group, not just using all of us for what I now know is narcissistic supply. I didn't feel like blowing my knees out. I also didn't feel like giving him supply, although I did not know that there was a name for it at the time. I felt humiliated being used like that, being watched, being judged, being deemed insufficient. I don't want to play this game. I left the group and left my son in the hike and told them I would meet them at the trail museum or near the parking lot. I wouldn't have left my son there. I would have been like, you know what? I don't need you leading my kid, okay, because you are a fucking asshole. Even if you didn't know what narcissism was, you knew he was an asshole. Now, I would have asked your son, better yet, I would have asked your son, are you into this? Like, and if your son was really into it and wanted to stay, then, because it's really for your son, you know? You should have, I would ask my son, like, what do you want to do here? And if my son was into it, as big of a jerk as he is, I would have stayed with him, but I would have been instructing my son, like, this guy's an asshole. Like, whether, you know, you're into it. You know, it's trying to instruct him the right way. And if you asked your son might have been like, no, this guy sucks. And I've been like, let's get the fuck out of here. And go, do you want to go do something else? You want to go, because this guy's an idiot. There was no reason to involve my son in whatever was going on, so I did not ask him to leave the hike. He had no trouble with the mountain climbing and is oblivious to these relational things. Okay, kids are like that. If I had my own wheels, I would have certainly have taken my son and left the park. Okay, fine. This is why, I read things cold. So I could only leave the hike in the purview of the narcissist. I couldn't take my son and go home. That's right. You didn't have the fucking car. You're right. You didn't have the car. Okay. But I'm glad we're on the same wavelength of not just leaving your son. And because I kind of got worried, like, uh-oh, it's kind of selfish. But I got you. Yeah. See, but that's just it. That's why I always want my own escape route. Always. I always want my own escape route. That's the real lesson here. Always have your own escape route. Now, you didn't know what you were getting into, but going forward, because you never know when you're gonna when you're gonna encounter a narcissist situation, and you're gonna have to need, you don't want to be caught like that without an escape route. And there you were trapped, and I think you said you were driven there by this guy. So wonderful. Back at the Trail Museum, I bet you can guess what happened next. They did not return within a reasonable amount of time. It was winter in Boston, so the sun would be setting soon. Hour after hour passed. See, you know what? And then again, what a jerk. No, I know why you did what you did, you know. Hindsight 2020, you're probably thinking, why did I leave my kid with an asshole like that? Like, of course. As you're sitting there, you're like, and thinking about what's happening, you're like, of course this jagoff would do this. Of course. Look at him. Hour after hour passed, the park emptied out, and dusk turned into nighttime. The park was not that big. It was not a huge hiking area, so I had no idea what could have been keeping the group. The parking lot was empty except for our group of cars. It got colder, it got darker, it got weirder. It was a strange place with no wheels, sitting in the dark alone, with my son out on some hiking trail in the dark. Another hour went by and the group finally emerged. I'd have been fucking breathing fire, man. I'd have been breathing fucking fire at this point. Because even if the kids get cold. I can't see how the kids could be into this at this point. My son was upset because he was worried about me. I was mad, but I said nothing. The leader told me that he planned to stay out after dark because he knows the trails so well. That is what he likes to do. Fucking asshole. Like, what a fucking asshole. Perhaps I injured him by leaving the hike, so he punished me. I still don't know if that was the plan all along. No one told me when I was part of the group. That should be something the people would discuss to know about in advance. Yeah, like how long you're going to be out there. Yeah, it's pretty reasonable. I still had to ride back to the campgrounds with this man, so I decided it was best not to act too mad to ride it out and never go anywhere with someone in a way that might cause me and my child to be stuck. We came to the same conclusion. A random narcissist can ruin your day. I was in the path of one who was looking for some client. He found it. Yeah, and you know what's worse? He could have hurt your kid. He could have hurt somebody else's kid. He's 74 fucking years old. Okay, he could have a heart attack at any second, and he's out there with a bunch of children in the dark. And then what? And then what? So yeah, that's why. Because people are idiots, and they're inconsiderate, and they're selfish, and they're sociopathic narcissists. And this guy's walking around the woods at night at 74 years old with a bunch of children. What if he had a fucking heart attack? What if he tripped and broke his leg? What if he did? Never go somewhere where you can't escape. Never go to an event. Never go to a place without an escape route from a narcissist. Never trap yourself, and you learn that lesson. So we're on the same page. Thank you so much, Norman, for your contribution and your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or you'd just like to make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you guys. Without you, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.